Hello everyone, this is teacher Sumalata here. This session we shall discuss the second poetry, Quality of Mercy, written by William Shakespeare. Children, I hope you all have opened your textbook. So before we start the poetry, we shall do a warm-up activity. So children, imagine you have lent some money to your friend. He or she doesn't return it when you are really in need of it. What would you do? You would forgive her, punish her, ignore her, pity her, sympathize her, or any other. So, based on this, here is an extract, Quality of Mercy, from the play The Merchant of Venice, written by William Shakespeare. Children, now we shall look into a brief introduction of William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare was born on 23rd of April 1564 in Stratford-on-Avon. He was regarded as the foremost dramatist of his time. His sonnets were composed between 1593 and 1601. The sonnets of Shakespeare, 154 in number, all written in the form of 3 quatrains. Quatrains means a verse of 4 lines. And a couplet that is now recognized as Shakespearean. Couplet means 2 successive rhyming lines of verse. I know you all know what is sonnet. A sonnet, a poem of 14 lines, is called a sonnet. So the sonnets fall into 2 groups. Sonnets 1 to 126 addressed to a beloved friend, a handsome and noble young man, and sonnets 127 to 152 to a malignant but fascinating dark lady whom the poet loves in spite of himself. Nearly all of Shakespeare's sonnets examine the inevitable decay of time and the immortalization of beauty and love in poetry. In his poems and plays, Shakespeare invented thousands of words. His impressive expansion of English language, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, includes such words as birthplace, blood-sucking, courtship, dewdrop, downstairs, radiance, schoolboy, stillborn, watchdog, etc. Shakespeare wrote more than 30 plays. These are usually divided into 4 categories: histories, comedies, tragedies, and romances. His earliest plays were primarily comedies and histories, such as Henry VI and the Comedy of Errors. But in 1596, Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet, his second tragedy, and over the next dozen years, he would return to the form, writing the plays for which he is now best known. Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, and Antony and Cleopatra. In his final years, Shakespeare turned to the romantic with Cymbeline, A Winter's Tale, and The Tempest. So children, this was the brief introduction of William Shakespeare. Now, let's start the poetry, Quality of Mercy, written by William Shakespeare. In this play, the main characters are Antonio, a merchant of Venice, Bassanio, a young aristocrat who is in love with Portia, Shylock, a Jewish moneylender, and Portia, a beautiful lady. So, in this play, The Merchant of Venice, we see Bassanio is an aristocrat, a poor young man of Venice. He has fallen in love with Portia, a wealthy and beautiful young lady of Belmont. Bassanio needs money to woo the lady. Here, woo, W-O-O, means seek love or try to win the lady. So, he asks his friend Antonio, the wealthy merchant of Venice, for a loan. As Antonio's money is tied up in business ventures, he promises to cover a bond if Bassanio can find a lender. So Bassanio turns to the Jewish moneylender Shylock to seek for a loan and names Antonio as the loan's guarantor. So, children, here we find Antonio and Shylock both are money lenders. Antonio used to grant loan without interest, and Shylock used to charge interest. Here we come to know that who is merciful and who is not so. Shylock agrees to lend the loan to Bassanio without interest, but upon one condition. If Antonio were unable to repay it at the specified date, Shylock may take a pound of Antonio's flesh. Bassanio doesn't want Antonio to accept such a risky condition, but Antonio signs the contract. With money in hand, Bassanio leaves for Belmont and wins Portia's love. At Venice, Antonio's ships are reported lost at sea, so the merchant cannot repay the bond. Shylock has become more determined to exact revenge. It means to take revenge from Christians. So, Shylock wanted to take revenge on Christians because his daughter Jessica eloped with the Christian Lorenzo and got converted. She took a substantial amount of Shylock's wealth with her, as well as a ring which Shylock had been given by his late wife Leah. So Shylock brought Antonio before the court. At Belmont, Bassanio receives a letter telling him that Antonio has been unable to repay the loan from Shylock. The climax of the play is set in the court of the Duke of Venice. Shylock refuses Bassanio's offer of twice the amount of the loan and demands Antonio's pound of flesh. In the court, Portia enters in the disguise of a lawyer and tells the importance of mercy, which is the poem Quality of Mercy, and requests Shylock to show mercy on Antonio. But Shylock will not agree. Then Portia says that the contract allows Shylock to remove only the flesh, not the blood of Antonio. Thus, if Shylock were to shed any drop of Antonio's blood, his lands and goods would be forfeited under Venetian laws. She tells him that he must cut pricelessly 1 pound of flesh, nor more nor less. So exactly he must take a pound of flesh, or else all his goods would be forfeited. Shylock listening to this, at the end he consents to accept Bassanio's offer of money for the defaulted bond. So children, this is one of the most famous speeches penned down by William Shakespeare. So children, now let's read the poem Quality of Mercy. The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. Upon the place beneath it is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes.